Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros. This is Out of Bounds. It is me, Joey P. Joe Pisapia, with my two best friends, Bogman and Welsh, and we're here having a little fun talking ball for the first time on Twitch. Let's go, everybody. How exciting is this? In case you don't realize it, we are on our YouTube channel as normal. If you're watching this or if you're listening wherever you get your podcasts to Fantasy Pros, we are now also live on Twitch doing this program so you can be a part of the show. You can watch it wherever you have a mobile device. You can go ahead and enjoy our company, ask us questions, and you could do that at twitch.tv/fantasypros. That's pretty easy to remember, isn't it? Twitch.tv/fantasypros. Gentlemen, I hope you're having a better day than Steve Smith Sr. We're going to play some games today. That's really what the theme of today's show is. It's all about fun and games. We're going to play Wheel of Quarterbacks, which I can't wait. We're going to spin the wheel and try to predict where some of these quarterbacks might land this offseason. Bogman, though, you are Mr. Dynasty. You're Mr. College Football. We're just, moments away from the NFL Combine beginning. So who are you most excited to see running 40s in their underwear?
I mean, running backs. I want to see these running backs separate themselves because there's a big glut of them. I think there's also kind of a glob of wide receivers as well. I want to see who separates themselves. That's what the Combine is for. For me, it's more for rumors. I like the rumors that come out of the Combine more than the actual underwear Olympics, but it's always fun when you have like all of the NFL people together in one spot. There's always all kinds of crazy stuff that happens. And
there is
stuff like Xavier Worthy running 4.2s last year.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing. Shador Sanders is just doing interviews, apparently, Welsh. So he's going to be saving his bullets in the chamber for his pro day. I'm not really surprised by that piece of news. Are you at the end of the day, Welsh?
I would wonder, is his dad letting him talk? Is he doing interviews? He's like it's him, Dion and him are like the stepbrothers thing. We'll be interviewing as a team here. And they just come in with their little suits and bow ties. Like, I'm surprised Dion's letting him do that. Dion runs the show. But yeah, I'm not surprised he's not working out at all.
Yeah, controlling parents of tournament 12U children, pay attention to watch how toxic something can become. And look at people hanging out with us. Our friend over here wants to know, can football come back already? I feel like Escobar in prison. I don't know what to do. I hear you. Well, football isn't really going away, and that's why we're doing this show here. We're going to do Out of Bounds continuously all off season. We had a couple weeks off there where we were trying to get the Twitch all set up. We had to, make sure we got the right name and everything else going on there, some technical things. But we have ironed that all out, and now we're here live hanging out. I am very excited to see Andrew Erickson and Derek Brown at the Combine. Can you believe it, guys? We submitted for media passes, these media passes.
I've been following behind the scenes. Are you guys going?
Well, Derek Brown is going and Andrew Erickson is going because they only were able to acquire 2 passes, and I'm the odd man out. I'm
sorry, Joey.
It's always me. I just
no short guys.
No short guys.
You
no
and
short
me.
kings.
Can't go.
Can't hang out at the draft.
We could have redone our picture. I put our pictures out from Vegas. We could have done our 4 pose. They'll just have to duo pose it, unfortunately. Sorry, you can't go. Sorry, you can't check out all the guys in their underwear and the potential guys falling out of their underwear and just all the great things that
the Chris Jones. Yeah.
That is one of the all-time most hilarious things ever, though. I mean, that really is a classic bit. But I'm excited for the guys to be going to the Combine. Make sure if you don't already, you follow us on social media. Do it everywhere: Instagram, TikTok, X, Twitter, whatever the hell we're calling it today. All of those things, because the guys are going to be tweeting and sharing social media stuff live from there. So it's going to be really cool stuff there. We are very excited. When they come back, I do get to do a show with them recapping everything. So Combine's coming. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, Fantasy Pros. And as promised, we're going to play a little game today. So we're going to hit a quick break. When we return, we're going to spin the wheel of quarterbacks. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back, everybody, to Out of Bounds. My goodness, I'm very intimidated.
You were very serious in that ad, by the way.
You don't download Fantasy Pros tools right now, I'm going to come for you. Ooh, yeah.
He was a man that liked wrestling.
The best tools always rise to the top. Yeah. Well, maybe next year we'll do it the luchador masks. Welsh and I will, maybe do that commercial together.
Right here.
There you go.
Right here. If we want
there
to
you
get
go.
into it.
Oh,
I'll
mine's
be
right behind me over there.
It's okay.
Bogman would be the best manager of that tag team at the end of the day. I mean,
Oh
that is
yeah,
special.
Jimmy Hart be Jimmy Shart. That'd be perfect.
Oh my God. The question is, you have to have a prop. Like Jim Cornette had the tennis racket. Jimmy Hart had the megaphone. What would you carry to the ring with you, Boggs? That's
Oh.
important.
Oh, cheeseburger for sure.
Nah, like a Coca-Cola can. You just throw
That's right.
Cokes
Oh
at
yeah, I
people.
just walk down like this with my
Yeah.
Coca-Cola
You
can.
got it in your
Diet
hand
Coke.
right now. You
Yeah.
go.
No joke.
These boys are the best wrestlers this side of the Mississippi.
Oh, God, you know what? Why are we even doing the show? We should be going to our new career.
Oh, thank you, Jimmy Shart. We're glad to be here. We're glad to be here. You and your Coca-Colas. It's me and Joe Pizza Pizza.
Oh, goodness
yeah.
gracious. Well,
Sure.
boys and girls, children of all ages, it's time to play a little game. We're wondering where the quarterbacks who might be looking for new homes could land in 2025. So we are going to spin the wheel of quarterbacks. Our amazing producer, Michael Callie, who's hanging out with us today, working overtime, he is going to spin the wheel for us, and we are going to do our best to predict where that quarterback might land. And there's some veterans in here and some retreads, more than a few, that's for sure, but some guys where maybe their careers aren't quite done yet. So, Michael Callie, let's spin the wheel. Oh, so good. High-tech stuff here. Look at this.
Spin it.
And the wheel is landing. Oh, is it? Is it? Yes, it's just there on Matthew Stafford. Look at that. Everybody's very excited. So let's start with Matthew Stafford here. Asian quarterback, had a very successful year. Certainly going into December, he gets the team into the playoffs there. He takes a playoff run. Welsh, we'll start with you on this one. Does he just stick with the Rams, or do the Rams start to think about the future? As Matthew Stafford, I can imagine he probably doesn't want to move again. He probably doesn't want to go to a cold weather place. He's in LA. You know, us old guys, we don't like it in the cold anymore. So I'm just out of curiosity. Does Matthew Stafford have another home in his future in 2025? Do you think they make a move, or does he stay put in LA?
No, I think he's gone. I think the team has already allowed him to start looking around and picking a team. So I think he is gone. The big question, like if you were trying to pick roots, Georgia, you know, he went to Georgia. So like the Falcons would make sense, but they got Penix. I don't think he's going to go and get traded anywhere where he's going to be a backup. On a quick glance, I'm going to give you the first team that jumped out to me, the New York Jets. I'm going to go with the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers gone. They've got a team of young players with a defense that I think is built to win a little bit closer to now. Maybe it's a good bridge gap type of situation. I'm going to say the New York Jets for Mr. Matthew Stafford.
All right. So Welsh got the first one. Interesting landing spot there for him. Michael Callie, let's spin the wheel for Scott Bogman. Scott, you think you got a big one in you? You got a big spin? There you go. There you go. No whammies. No whammies. Let's see. Oh, could it be? My goodness. Speaking of New York, it looks like Daniel Jones, and the crowd is very excited too.
And the crowd goes mild. That's right.
That is, so Mr. Whitebread Sandwich himself, Daniel Jones. Was it Daniel Jones or was it Sam?
It
Darnold?
was. He took it off. Callie took him off too quick. So, but
all right. So I'm all right.
That's okay.
I was confusing my failed New York quarterbacks, I thought, for a moment there, but now I see the light. Daniel Jones ended up last year at the end of 2024/5 with the Minnesota Vikings, but he is out there and about and free to walk about the cabin. So, Scott Bogman, when you look at the landscape of the NFL teams, it could be looking for a quarterback. I know there's been some rumblings with your Pittsburgh Steelers and Daniel Jones. If that's not nightmare fuel, I don't know what is. Scott Bogman, where do you think Daniel Jones ends up in 2025?
I think it is the Steelers. And this has been the nightmare fuel for me since Ben Roethlisberger left, really since Ben Roethlisberger had his injury. So it's just been terrible at that position for Pittsburgh. And I don't think that Daniel Jones is a big improvement, but I do think Russell Wilson's probably out the door. I think Justin Fields doesn't want to come back to a team he was benched in. So I think it's going to be DJ as a bridge to whoever. Maybe the Steelers draft one of these guys late in the draft and try to develop them. Maybe they wait till next year. But I do think DJ fits what Arthur Smith does pretty well. Mobile quarterback, one good receiver. If they can get a good running back in there, that was, Arthur Smith has lived off of one good year in Tennessee for a long time. he had there was Ryan Tannehill, AJ Brown, and Derrick Henry. Well, when you have AJ Brown and Derrick Henry, things are pretty easy for the quarterback. So we'll see. I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's definitely weird times for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It seems like there's a little smoke there, so we'll see if that's where he ends up. All right, let's spin the wheel for me, Joey P. I see some of these quarterbacks already leaving the wheel as we talk about them too. Michael Calley, such a professional. We're so lucky to work with professionals. Is it Sam Darnold? Oh no, it's Russell Wilson. Oh my goodness, these transitions. This one's tough. I gotta say, I think
where did you guys just go on vacation, Joe?
That's where I think it's happening too. So it's
Viva Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. Yeah. For clarity too, it was a work trip. It wasn't vacation. We were working, and we were working very hard. We had all day of meetings at Fantasy Pros. It was a great time. Shout out to our amazing team and our leadership there, taking care of all of that and giving us a nice couple days out there in Las Vegas to work, quote unquote.
Right.
And
yeah.
How excited, Joe, are you? We did a photo shoot. The great Michael Calley, who's producing this show, they rented out a studio, and we went into like sketch Vegas.
I was gonna say, we went to the studio where I didn't think we were coming out alive. And at one point, Andrew Erickson left to go get some waters, and he was gone for 45 minutes, and we thought he was dead.
He legit disappeared. Actually, I have a picture of it. I'm going to share it right here. We took a pic. This is him walking down the street. I was so terrified. We were like, we found him, but there's
one of those pictures that looks like you two and Debro are about to rob Erickson.
There's quite a few of those, but this is my favorite. There's Calley and there's Mr. Joe Pisapia. We're taking I mean, the behind the scenes were fantastic. It's just, when do we get to see the reality? And then
looks like a really tough road trip, Joe.
This was very hard work. And look at Mr. Derek Brown.
Do you know how hard it is for Derek to get in that position?
He's very in the center position there.
He's about to hike that ball.
Yeah, he was doing the icy hot
back when he does it.
Yeah, he had the icy hot going for the next like 4.5 hours after that. Russell Wilson, going back to him, I do think it is Las Vegas. I think the Pete Carroll reunion makes sense. I also think they are the team that trades up to the one spot and tries to take Shedeur Sanders. I do. I get this feeling that Vegas wants to make a little bit of a splash here. I don't think they got this great big building. They got the coach that if you bring in the coach who's older, you have Russell Wilson. It's a perfect little spot there for Shedeur Sanders to sit for a year and learn, and then you turn it over. And then, Pete Carroll is of it. I mean, 3-year contract for Pete Carroll. What's this guy's 3-year plan? Don't die. I mean, that's to quote Big Daddy, one of the classics. I love Pete Carroll, by the way. I'm kidding, Pete. But honestly, you got a situation where maybe Dion does jump to the NFL in a couple years, and it's the perfect landing spot for all of them. So I do think Russell Wilson could potentially land there.
Russell with Pete Carroll just makes sense. It just makes sense. Does. They need a bridge. It just makes sense. If it's not Vegas, I think Russ goes back to Pittsburgh. I think those are like his two options.
I would agree. As a Steelers fan, what would you prefer? Just out of morbid curiosity.
Russell, just because he had experience, he wasn't.
Welsh, did you hear the defeat in his voice when he said it?
Unreal that you would want that.
I mean,
it's more unreal that I'd want Russell Wilson over Daniel Jones.
One guy.
True.
I'm like a Daniel Jones stan too. I think I kind of like him more than most other people do, and I still don't want him on my team.
Look at this wheel. What a wheel of not great. This isn't like, hey, fantasy, top quarterback. Look at this wheel of available quarterbacks. These are second strings across the board outside of really
spin it for Welsh.
Oh yeah, please land on Rodgers, by the way.
There we go. What's coming? Here it is. Oh, it's Derek Carr. Welsh. I've got a landing spot for him. More on the Saints later in the show. That's what they call a tease in the business. Welsh, let's talk about Derek Carr, because this is a team that has a ton of cap issues, new OC, age on the team. Well, again, we're going to dive in a little bit deeper in the next segment to the New Orleans Saints. But Derek Carr, is he a Saint next year, or is he somewhere else? Maybe New York Giants, perhaps. That's where I think he could get real interesting.
That's an interesting one. I think he's going to go into a spot where he has like a semi opportunity to take a gig. There's a young quarterback. He's not going back to New Orleans. I'm going to go with the Tennessee Titans. I don't think the Tennessee Titans are going to be able to bring in anybody super great, and then they can have a little competition with Levis. I think that's the best that you're going to get out of Carr. Really weird situation. Ironically, looking at this wheel too, I think, we've kind of moved through a couple of them because you've asked the question like, hey, could this guy stay here? Could this guy stay there? I really don't see a single quarterback that's going to be going back. The highest probability would be a guy like Darnold. And we know that's not going to happen if they were to do something weird and maybe franchise him so they could have McCarthy. Everybody else is going to be moving on. And half of those other guys, I think, have better starting opportunities than Carr does. I really think Carr is just going to be in one of those spots, similar to Darnold. It would be like Darnold from last year, where it's like, well, they got a young quarterback. Most likely he's going to take that gig, and then Darnold sits as the second quarterback. That's kind of where I think Carr is. I think your Giants one totally makes sense, but the Titans jumped out to me as a team that might want some type of competitive quarterback, at least behind Levis.
Boggs, I've been hearing that we might have a situation where the Titans want to trade out of that one spot. Do you think they'll just stick there and take Carter, or you think they're going to look to trade out?
I think they should stick and take Carter. I think he's the best player in the draft, but they need a lot. This is not a one spot fix. So I think if they could stay in the top 5 and add some extra picks, maybe that's something. Maybe get a first round this year and next year and some extra picks for this draft could make that happen as well. We'll see, but I don't know. It's tough to trade out of the number 1 spot when you have it, because you shouldn't have it much more than 1 year.
Before we spin the wheel again, a quick reminder, NBA season is hot right now, and there's plenty of new ways to get in on the action with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. And if you're ready to place your first bet, try betting on something simple like picking how many points your favorite player will have. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now, make your pick, and take it to the rack with DraftKings Sportsbook. Every point counts, and download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. Use that promo code FANTASYPROS, and when you do, you get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Let us spin the wheel again, Michael Calley. Only 5 left here. Let's see how we do. Come on, no Emmys, no Emmys. Where are we going? Where are we going? Oh, could it be old man Kirk Cousins? It is Kirk Cousins. Scott Bogman didn't look good last year for Kirk Cousins. I got to say, I thought it would play better in Atlanta than it did. I'm taking the L on that one.
I feel like I'm confused. Everyone is saying that, oh, look, Achilles injuries heal so much faster. No, they don't. They haven't. The guys just coming back earlier from them, and they look terrible. And this was one of those examples. Kirk Cousins looked awful, specifically for the first half of the year, and then just looked old in the second half of the year. So I think maybe another full offseason of rest and recovery, maybe he can look a little bit better. But this one's easy because all the rumors are kicking abound, like the deal is almost done, that Kirk Cousins will end up in Cleveland, at some point in this offseason and be a bridge to whoever the next guy is. So I think that one is pretty simple, that Kirk Cousins ends up in Cleveland with the Browns.
There you go. With Kevin Stefanski. There you have it, everybody. All right, let's spin the wheel again. For me, Joey P. I know which quarterback
we know who you're getting. We know who you're getting. We all know.
Is it going? Oh,
yep.
No. You jinxed it.
Hell is not an option.
Should I just put this out here, Joe? Just if you want to look behind me on the screen, if you want any suggestions on maybe where Aaron Rodgers.
Oh no.
Just gonna leave here.
I think Aaron Rodgers ends up hosting a podcast. I think nowhere.
Fox News.
Yeah, I mean, OAN maybe. I don't know. Newsmax. I think there's a better chance of him ending up there than I think on an NFL team looking forward. I just don't know if there's an NFL team that wants to take that headache on. It's not going to be the other team in New York. They're not doing it. If Kirk Cousins, like you said, Boggs, is that close with Cleveland, it's not going to be there. I think it's a game of musical chairs, and I just don't know if there's a seat left at the table. The options would probably be something like the Tennessee Titans.
That's kind of what I think.
Where I think that is. But if you're Aaron Rodgers, is that what you want to do? Do you want to go play for the Tennessee Titans and get your ass kicked for the last year of your career again? Probably not.
But what if you could do something?
That might be it.
What if you could do something like this beautiful edit that someone put together with a team that really doesn't care about headaches on the offense or really anywhere because Tomlin is infallible? What about Aaron Rodgers to the Pittsburgh Steelers there, Boggs?
Sense in your sarcasm.
I just don't like it's not. I think record wise, it won't be any different than Daniel Jones or Russell Wilson. So for the headache, I don't want it at all. We already have George Pickens, so
There's
enough
two
headache in
outside the
locker
box
room.
ones that I'll throw out there. One is living out your childhood dream and going to San Francisco and just saying, "Hey, let me go compete for a job, and this is what I want to do. And if it doesn't work out in camp, maybe he just retires." But that's the childhood dream of Aaron
Well, you're
Rodgers,
not
and we know.
competing for a job in San Francisco. You're a
Oh,
backup in San Francisco.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
guess.
You're
I
only
guess.
you get what Joe. Wait, hold on.
Oh, we think Brock
I-
Purdy is
okay.
infallible. Is that what we think?
Yeah.
I think he's the starter.
Do you think Aaron Rodgers comes in and creates any competition for Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers? That's the
Hear me
craziest
out.
thing you've ever said on this show.
Hear me
Or
out.
any
Hear
show.
me out. Hear me out. But you've got a choice, right? With Brock Purdy, correct? Can you franchise him again and not sign him to a long-term deal and say, let's try Aaron Rodgers as the backup and see how Purdy does this coming year? And then we'll make a decision if we really want to invest
There
long-term in
is
him.
no way Aaron Rodgers is taking a deal to sit behind Purdy and hope that he ends up starting.
Well, then the
Just
only
at
other
that
spot is
point, just
Tennessee,
retire.
or if New Orleans jettisons Carr, him going to New Orleans for a year. Like that's it. I think those are the only two openings. And again, I just don't think he's going to be there. Now there's 3 quarterbacks left, and there's 3 of us. So let's see how it rolls. Let's go. Let's spin that wheel, Michael Calley, one more time. Let's see who we get here. All right, 3 quarterbacks left. Justin Fields, one of these quarterbacks remaining out there. Jameis Winston, lots of Sam Darnold. Oh, it is Jameis Winston. Welsh. Where does Winston go? He's certainly the best interview of this bunch. That's for sure. There's no doubt about that.
I gotta be honest with you. Of all the guys that might be on a podcast and a big television set, this might be the guy. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is doing anything media wise. That dude is disappearing, or he can go continue being on McAfee with the one guy that just stands there blank faced and he could do those segments if he wants. I think this is the guy that's doing a podcast. I think he is on NFL Network. I think he's doing road interviews. He's the most electric across the board. If he were to go to a spot, I also don't think this is another starter role. I guess I would throw out maybe I'll throw out a Giants, big stage New York. I don't think this is what they would want, but I think they might have to bring in 2 of like a Jameis Winston. I would say a Daniel Jones, but obviously not Daniel.
That
Jones.
ain't happening.
Yeah, but it would be like 2, like a Carr and a Winston competing and kind of fighting over that. I don't think he's going to be able to go back down south. I don't think you're going back with the Saints. Maybe as a backup in Atlanta, there would be another one I would throw out to you. That might make a lot of sense, but I legit think that Winston might be in media more than any player, but I'm going to go with the Giants if I have to stick to a team.
All right. Spin the wheel, Michael Calley. There's only 2 of us remaining. This is very, very dramatic here at the end. All right. It is Justin Fields for Scott Bogman. Now, Boggs, you know where I want to put Justin Fields. I want to put him on the New York Jets with Garrett Wilson. Heck, why don't we just trade a 3rd-round pick and get Chris Olave and put the whole band back together in New York? Why not? Let's go. I'm all in. But where do you want to put Justin Fields in 2025?
I mean, I think the Jets are a very good option. I honestly think he could end up in a bunch of spots, though. Miami. How about Miami? Tua keeps getting hurt, obviously, the concussions. They've had these miserable backups for a while. And there's a chance that, if this guy was good in Miami, he could take that job from Tua. I don't think that Tua is super, super safe with his injury history. So, and if you do get that job, now you walk into a job, it's not George Pickens and a bunch of scrubs. It's Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Jonnu Smith. Like, that's a very good spot to be in. You do have to wait for an injury or earn that spot, though. So, I think that could easily be a spot for Justin Fields.
Well, we don't have to spin the wheel again. I mean, we can. Let's just spin it.
I think we should just do it just
around
for
the circle.
The
You
hell
like
of it.
shiny objects. Oh, is it going to be Sam Darnold? Oh, no, it's nobody. It's nobody. So what do? You just keep spinning until it's Sam Darnold. It's Sam Darnold, everybody. There you go. There's one guy left. Oh, man. This is a tough one because it was such a good year for Darnold, and it ended so badly at the end. And you had all of those terrible reminders of what the shortcomings were of Sam Darnold. But I don't want to completely erase all the good that he did during the regular season. I think Kevin O'Connell looks like the big genius here. He's the biggest winner of the Sam Darnold experiment. I'm going to go on a limb here, and I'm going to say the Indianapolis Colts. I think the Colts are a really interesting landing spot because if you are thinking about whether or not Anthony Richardson is that guy, and you want to put hey, let's going to give another 6 weeks of the season next year to figure it out, you can pivot to Sam Darnold, and then you could pivot completely away from Anthony Richardson.
Trade him to Pittsburgh.
Trade him somewhere, and then let Sam Darnold be your QB for the next 2 to 3 years until you figure out who's next. To me, this makes the most sense short-term and long-term. I think the Colts are having a little bit of pressure. They were a playoff team 2 years ago. Last year, things did not work out. Shane Steichen, I think, is a very good offensive mind. I think Darnold would need that kind of mind. And I think Steichen looks at him in the same way that, O'Connell did, which is, hey, this guy had a high pedigree. I think I'm smart enough to get something out of him. Welsh, what do you think about my landing spot for Sam Darnold?
This is one I had locked in the whole time. So I guess, I don't know, I kind of disagree because I think this is the one quarterback that is going to be viewed in the state of like, legit could be a franchise quarterback. Like you could give him a long-term deal. He's young enough. He could be your quarterback for 4 or 5 years. Almost every guy we've talked about is not that player. And the one that makes sense to me is coming back to the very first quarterback on the wheel. If they are going to trade and allow Matthew Stafford to be traded, I think that they would definitely be in on trying to get Darnold. I mean, you would have Puka as your main wide receiver. They've got a good running game, building that defense out. I think they would be willing to pay that big dollar to make him a franchise quarterback. And I think with moving off of Stafford, that is clearly, if you're going to allow Stafford to seek a trade and get out of here, you're clearly going to move in the direction of either drafting a high-end quarterback, which doesn't look like they're in position to, or you're going to be in that investment market. And I think that is Sam Darnold. So I think Sam Darnold is going to sign a long-term big deal with the Rams, and this will be the big splash one. That's what I locked into, Boggs. You seem to kind of agree with me on that.
That's an interesting spot.
I think if Stafford gets moved, Sam Darnold to the Rams is just an easy plug and play, right?
Mm-hmm.
Smart guy, complicated system, but I think that McVay would get him ready. I think that's a great fit. Should they trade Matthew Stafford?
Well, I assume it's the same verbiage in the system, though. We're talking about O'Connell and McVay. We're talking about the same tree.
Sure.
Like, I imagine it's actually maybe
Even more
not as. I was gonna say it's not as difficult. I don't mean to be Andrew Erickson for a minute there, like with all the push pins and all the strings, tying all the stuff together, but it's not that difficult of a transition. Typically, these guys who come from the same coaching tree tend to have a lot of the similar pieces in their offenses. So that would be an interesting spot there. So there you have it. That is our wheel of quarterbacks. Of course, if you're watching back on YouTube, you can always comment. When we return here, we're going to talk a little bit about some challenges. And this segment is sponsored by Microsoft here today, and it's the Chasing Challengers segment. And just like athletes who push boundaries and redefine what's possible, business decision makers today are turning challenges into opportunities, and Microsoft meets you where you are with tools and guidance to help you make an impact with safe, secure AI solutions. Players and teams are facing their own challenges, and in this segment, we're going to spotlight athletes, teams, situations that are currently undergoing a challenge and what this means from a fantasy or a betting standpoint, and to examine what we think could help to overcome them. And whatever challenge you're facing, Microsoft empowers you with the expertise to say, bring it on. And this week, we're discussing the challenge that Kellen Moore, first-time head coach of the NFL, is going to have taking on that Saints job, where the team is older, the quarterback situation could be in question. Maybe it's time to move on from Derek Carr. Maybe he wants to be somewhere else. And they're also $61 million over the cap. Yikes. The challenge will be tearing down, rebuilding this roster. But the first-time head coach, that's going to be real tough for him to survive that sort of rebuild. And one thing is clear, the Saints need some better health in 2025. Only the Lions had more total missed points due to injury in 2024 than the New Orleans Saints. So health and youth may be the only solution to turning it around for the New Orleans Saints. And that's this week's Chasing Challengers. Remember, Microsoft's AI solutions empower you to take bold steps and make informed decisions, sparking new ideas to help drive your business forward. And with Microsoft as your trusted partner, you can navigate with your journey with confidence, finding innovative solutions and reaching new possibilities. Visit Microsoft.com/challengers to learn more. Today was about fun. We spun our wheels. We picked some QBs to where they're going to be. I'm sure next week we'll be talking a lot about what we saw in the draft and perhaps have some luchador masks on as well. I see some people in the chat too asking about baseball. Baseball's happening right now on the Fantasy Baseball channel, FantasyPros MLB. Got amazing stuff going on there. Another new one too coming on too. We have another live stream Wednesday on YouTube. So make sure on FantasyPros MLB to check that out. But before we go, one of our favorite segments, in case you are new here to our Twitch stream, is Florida Man. And again, all you have to do for this segment is typically I just Google Florida Man and something amazing pops up, and something amazing popped up today. Mechanical gator riding, lawnmower races, and more. The Florida Man Games is actually taking place. Now, I don't know if you boys have heard about this, but this is true.
It's like the Olympics.
It is like the Olympics, but for Florida people. And
what are the requirements? Like seven teeth, sleeveless shirt,
a certain amount of debt, I would imagine, too. But here's some of the challenges that were happening last year. It was a weaponized pool noodle duel, an evading arrest obstacle course, which is what I would have, of course, gone to first. Category 5 hurricane winds cash grab, where all the wind's blowing and they have to grab the cash. And of course, beer belly, Florida Man, sumo wrestling. So I was going to point out to you guys here, what event would you like to see in the Florida Man Games? Just out of curiosity.
So not these though.
I'm just saying, if you have Michael Calley, can we actually play this here? We're going to play this video. Maybe this will give you some inspiration here. Look at these two.
Okay, so these guys have
this is the sumo in the
like a good Floridian fever dream, just anything that has anything to do with Florida, you're going to see it out there. The fairgrounds is going to be an amazing space. It's like
these are the lawnmower races,
the size
assume.
of the venue that we had last year. And if it rains a little bit, we're a little bit muddy. That's okay. So this year we've got some really cool shows. We've got the Hell's a Poppin' Freak Show, and that's sponsored by Ripley's Believe It or Not. Jeffrey Earnhardt, Dale Earnhardt's grandson, just signed on to be our grand marshal for the lawnmower race.
Oh, congratulations.
The Wrestling Warriors are going to be doing a wrestling show out there. Matt Riddle, who's going to be out there. I don't think that's the
proper nomenclature,
and
dude.
He's a super eccentric. I think he's in Orlando now. But he is, you talk about the embodiment of Florida Man. I mean, Matt Riddle is it. We've got Indy Hartwell wrestling her first match since leaving WWE just a couple of
professional
months
wrestling
ago.
should definitely
For
be
wrestling
a part of this.
fans, this is an unbelievable card. The winners, again, will get $5,000 cash this year, so that's nothing to sneeze at. Something that's a little bit different this year is we're going to give away $500 cash to the winner of each competition. The support's been amazing. So many. We just went down to the Daytona 500 last week, and just everybody on the streets knew about the Florida Man Games, and it was really cool. We've got to meet some really cool people, and it's just fun.
I think we've seen it. It is just fun. It costs $45 to go to the Florida Man Games.
$45.
About $145 for the VIP experience. God knows what that is. So I have two suggestions. One would be the True Gator race, where they release a gator and you have to just run for your life from it. The other would be the Baby Mama Challenge, where I think what you do is you have the children line up and you have to pair the children with the right mother. Yeah, I'd like to see how that would work out potentially. Anything you would like to potentially bring to the Florida Man Games as we look at these incredible pictures here?
We gotta have we gotta have like the iguana catch, right?
Well,
because
it's like
so many invasive iguanas, and when it freezes, they just
the iguana catch would be good.
So iguana catch, I think, would be good. Maybe anaconda catch.
It's like hillbilly American gladiators. That's the best. That's the tagline.
That cow was representative of everything. Bring that cow back. That guy, right
there. It is. A cow in those shades. Who is
he's about ready to yell at a little league umpire.
Yeah, I think you could do a game like, is it bath salts? I think Florida people would be really good at that. Like,
is
meth or bath salt?
You could do like American Ninja Warrior, but you know those little platforms they jump to? They're just gators. So American Gator Warrior, I think that would be a really good one. Yeah, I mean,
I feel like every one of these pools is filled with twisted iced tea. I'm pretty sure.
Probably Screwball, right? Isn't that the
Yeah, they can also do a child support
some type of challenge.
Okay,
about
Callie, go back
around Tropicana.
Go back one. Can you zoom in on this?
That is an outfit. We've got the
how many boots. Twitch subs to get Bogman to recreate this photo?
I think I already have most of that.
This is incredible.
My shorts are not quite that short.
Well, I got to zoom out a little bit here because you got to get the cowboy boots in the shot. Look
at the gloves. Look, I mean, I'm getting Welsh Cheesemo is getting pumped up seeing this outfit.
Correct me if I'm wrong. On Twitch, we can have these little, these little icon, the emoji kind of things.
Yeah, people can get them.
You guys are telling me there's not like a debate in this competition
By the way, on Twitch, very important thing for people that are out here. You guys can sub on here. If you have Amazon Prime, you can sub for free. and that will enable emotes. You guys can have special Fantasy Pros based emotes as more shows come in. You also can earn, I believe, channel bits, I think it is, as you come and watch and interact. So make sure you do all of those things, and let's get subs so Bogman can recreate the short sleeve.
Yeah, we need to get up to $5 profit for me to be able to afford that.
Oh my goodness. Well, there you have it, everybody. Florida Man Olympics looks like a really good time. And again, make sure you are joining us on Twitch, as Welsh is saying. It's twitch.tv/fantasypros. So if you're a fan of Fantasy Pros, we're going to have a lot of content here in the season ahead in 2025. So if you're new to Twitch, this is the perfect reason to switch over and start checking out the content. We're going to have some live combine stuff going on there. We're going to have a lot more here of Out of Bounds. And then as the year goes on, who knows? We'll put some baseball stuff on here. We'll put some NFL stuff on there, maybe some betting stuff too. A lot of things going on here in that universe. We've got a lot of fun happening on the Twitch channel and, of course, on our YouTube. So subscribe there and subscribe to Fantasy Pros wherever you get your podcast. Gentlemen, it was good to see you and spin the wheel of quarterbacks. Shout out to Michael Calley making everything work today. Look there. That's America right there. There you go.
And get it on with my hat. There we go.
Oh, yeah, Joey P. It's good to see you on the
It's amazing how his eyes really just bug out and become terrifying when he puts that.
I know. I have kind of like my eyes sit like Stallone, but in here it's big.
Stallone.
Hey.
Stallone. You just made Sylvester Stallone like an adverb? Is that what you did? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Wow. That's pretty amazing right there. Well, gentlemen, pleasure as always. Again, drop your comments below. Where do you think those quarterbacks are going to land in 2025? That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Bogman and Welsh, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, dude.